Isaiah Saxon's The Legend of Ochi feels like a movie from another time, or maybe another world. It's stuffed with handmade charm, lush visuals, and this quiet, tender story about a girl and a wounded creature. And while it's not perfect, sometimes it's a little too sleepy for its own good, there's something really special about it that lingers long after the credits roll. The movie tells the story of Yuri, a shy farm girl living in the remote village of Carpathia. Yuri discovers a wounded baby Ochi, an elusive monkey-like species that's feared by her people. Driven by compassion, she embarks on a quest to reunite the creature with its mother, much to the dismay of her father, played by Willem Dafoe, and his band of hunters, who are hell-bent on eradicating the Ochi like Captain Ahab seeking a white whale. And if this sounds familiar, that's because it is. Think E.T., but swap the alien for a mystical forest creature and Spielberg's suburban backdrop for towering Carpathian landscapes. It's a tale that we've seen countless times, a misunderstood creature befriended by a pure-hearted child, while the corrupt adults embody antagonism and fear. Think The Iron Giant, Pete's Dragon, The Water Horse, Oakjaw, Lilo and Stitch, How to Train Your Dragon, and the aforementioned E.T. The trope is tried and true, but that familiarity occasionally works against The Legend of Ochi, making it feel like it's treading well-worn territory rather than carving its own path. But I want to get going on some positives. First up, the visuals in The Legend of Ochi are insane. Saxon and his team built the island of Carpathia with so much love and care. It's like stepping into a dream you've had since childhood but forgot about until now. The forests, the mountains, the little villages, it all feels like it's been there forever. And the Ochi themselves, these little monkey-like creatures, are so alive, it's wild. They're puppets and stop-motion animation, but they move and emote in a way that's so convincing, you'll forget that they aren't real. It's kind of a throwback to old-school creature effects, but it doesn't feel dated. It feels somewhat magical. And beyond the Ochi, the cinematography and the production design deserve special mention, from the towering Carpathian forest to a surreal, candy-colored grocery store sequence that feels ripped out of a Wes Anderson fever dream. Every frame of this movie is visually arresting. It's the kind of film where nearly every shot could double as a desktop wallpaper. And where The Legend of Ochi really shines is as an experience. The visuals are breathtaking, and the score by David Longstreth of Dirty Projectors fame wraps around you like a fog. It's haunting and beautiful, and it really sells the movie's dreamy vibe. But that dreamy vibe can also be a problem, because the pacing is slow, like really slow. It's deliberate, sure, but there are moments when it feels like this movie's dragging its feet. It's the kind of film where you either let the atmosphere wash over you, or you start checking your watch. So while the visuals wowed me, without a doubt, the pacing left me a bit drowsy. Much of the movie unfolds with this languid rhythm accompanied by that swelling orchestral score that borders on hypnotic. And Yuri, the protagonist, is portrayed as stoic and wise, but her delivery often felt monotone, contributing to the film's lulling quality. And by the time the credits rolled, I found myself kind of torn. I admired its artistry and technical achievements for sure, but I couldn't shake the feeling that the film as a whole was a little, how do I put this, a little forgettable? That sounds really harsh, and I probably don't mean it that way, but it's the first word that comes to mind. Now, I want to get back to talking about this whole child protecting a creature from adults who want to harm it story, because it's one that's been around forever, and it's easy to see why it hits us so hard. At its heart, it taps into some deep-rooted fears, like our fear of the unknown, or how we tend to react to anything that seems different or foreign. In these stories, the child is often the one with pure intentions, empathy, innocence, and a natural instinct to do what's right, while the adults are driven by greed and fear or a need to control. It's a classic battle between innocence and the darker, more destructive forces of the world. And these kinds of stories also play on how we always fear the quote-unquote other, whether it be a strange animal, an alien, or even a new idea. Anything that doesn't fit into the world we know is often painted as a threat. It's an instinct that we've had for as long as we could remember. But the child in these stories don't see that threat. They see something worth protecting. They don't let fear shape their actions, and that's what makes these stories resonate. It's a reminder that sometimes understanding and empathy are far more powerful than fear. And at the same time, these stories carry a warning about how we exploit and destroy things just because we don't understand them. We often turn what we fear into something that we want to control or get rid of, and that never really ends well. But there's hope in these stories too. The child's perspective, free from the jaded worldview of adults, shows that maybe there's a better way to live with the unknown, to find a way to coexist rather than to conquer. Now, The Legend of Ochi, however, takes a different path to get to the same destination. While it shares the sentimentality of its predecessors, it trades their inviting atmosphere for one that feels cold, damp, and unyielding. The setting of Carpathia is as much a character as Yuri and the Ochi, with its frigid landscapes, its dense forests, and relentless gray skies, setting a tone that is far from welcoming. There's no cozy glow here. There's very little humor in this film, no sense of homey security. And instead, the film's aesthetic mirrors the harsh reality of Yuri's journey. It's unforgiving, and it's raw. It's like an icy wind that bites through layers of thick wool sweaters. And that contrast makes Ochi unique and a bit unsettling. It takes the genre's familiar template and drops it into an environment that feels actively hostile, not just to its characters, but to the viewer's expectations of comfort. It's a stylistic mashup of sentimentality and severity, a balancing act that doesn't always land squarely, but undeniably leaves an impression. I definitely would not describe watching The Legend of Ochi like wrapping yourself in a warm blanket, because it's more like standing on a frost-covered cliff, marveling at the view while shivering in the cold. Now, if there's one thing that pulled me out of the magic of this movie, it was the dialogue. The film is so visually striking and its story so universal that the words often felt unnecessary, almost like an afterthought. Honestly, it made me wonder, would The Legend of Ochi have been stronger as a dialogue-free film? It's not hard not to think about Flow from last year, the Oscar-winning dialogue-free film about a cat navigating a post-apocalyptic wasteland. That movie leaned entirely on visual storytelling, and it was all the more powerful for it. In The Legend of Ochi, when characters do speak, the dialogue can feel clunky or repetitive, as if it's trying to explain things that the visuals are already showing us. Now, it doesn't ruin the movie, but it does undercut some of that dreamlike, transportive quality. If Isaiah Saxon had trusted his imagery a little bit more, let the silence stretch longer, it could have been something truly extraordinary. But that is just my opinion. So, should any of you out there watch it? Here's the deal. If you're into movies that take their time and prioritize capital V vibes over plot, then The Legend of Ochi will probably blow you away. It's a movie that feels handcrafted in the best way, like every frame was touched by someone who really cared about it. But if you're looking for something action-packed or tightly plotted or reminiscent of those classic child and creature flicks, you might end up frustrated. It's not about big twists or fast-moving drama. It's about the quiet beauty of the world that Isaiah Saxon and company built and the small emotional moments that happen inside of it. And just a quick PSA, despite the adorable creature on the poster, I don't think that this is a movie for young kids. Several families in my theater left well before the halfway point, and I imagine it had to do with that icy cold tone that I mentioned earlier. But anyway, for me, this film is well worth seeing, even if just to witness what Saxon pulled off visually. This film has got a big, beautiful heart, and frankly, that's enough. But what do you guys think? Head down to the comments and let me know what you thought of The Legend of Ochi, and if you're looking forward to seeing more work from Isaiah Saxon, because I certainly am. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to be notified when new videos come out on the channel. Go follow me on Letterboxd, and you can see my thoughts on some of these movies before they come out on YouTube. And that'll do it for me on this one. I'll see you all next time.